A pleasant good evening to you. Welcome to the Big Sky, where we get to explore the unlimited possibilities of aviation. And I'm your host, Isaac Yummy, and welcome on a Tuesday, as usual. Welcoming every single one of you, of our viewers. Thank you so much for the support. If you haven't liked this page, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends, and all of those cool stuff. So today I'm going to be alone, sadly, because Michelle is somewhere else. But it's good. We're gonna have a good time, and like always, I have a guest in the studio, and we're gonna be talking about so many things today. And I just want to like a few announcements from Flight Wings Aviation. I just want to say our junior aviation courses started last week, and it's commencing. And there are going to be plans also if you want to be able to attend evening classes as well if you're busy during the day. That's another plan. And please feel free to inbox us with certain questions that you want further clarity. So to move today we have a very special guest as always, and today we're going to be having a chat with the aircraft maintenance technician, and none other than Nomagugu. So I'm going to add Nomagugu to the stream. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How's everything that side?
Everything is fine, thank you.
Awesome. So today you're a special guest. Like always, we're always honored to have special people on the show. So welcome to the Big Sky, where we get to explore the unlimited possibilities of aviation. So today, we're going to start from hearing from you first of all. Greet our viewers and basically give us a bio of yourself so people can be acquainted to you whilst we're having this discussion. Go ahead.
All right, thank you so much, Isaac, and thank you everyone who is with us tonight. Thank you for tuning in. All right, so a bit about myself. I don't really know what exactly you want me to share, but I'll try the basics. So as Isaac said, my name is Nomagugu. Actually, my full name is Nomagugu L.B Lunga, and I'm an aircraft maintenance technician. I'm 25 years of age. I actually turned 25 last week on Monday, the 12th of July. And also, I'm the only girl in a family of 3. I grew up with my brothers. So the firstborn is a guy, the lastborn is a guy. I'm the middle and the only girl child, which is why I actually grew up as a tomboy. But well, thank God, now I'm trying to become a lady. And maybe a special mention, I actually live by certain principles, certain values, but I would like just to mention a few. My very first value that I live by is actually from a Christian Bible verse, which is from the book of 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7, which says, "For God did not give us the spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind." So I live by that verse. And also, maybe of special mention as well, I live by 2 songs. There's a song that I actually listen to every morning after waking up, and the song that I listen to before I sleep, because these songs actually inspire me. So the morning one is Unstoppable by Sia, and the evening one is I Was Here by Beyonce. So I'm not sure if I left anything that you want to learn about me.
No, no, no. Actually, I actually learned that you're actually a cool person. You know, because when people deem people who are doing aviation like probably these are boring, serious over whatever. You're showing us also you have time for actual reality like religion, and
Yeah.
we also have time to just relax and be who you are as well. And I just want to say to our common people people viewing us right now, thank you so much. Feel free to chat up on our comment section. Basically, any questions you have, please feel free to shout out. And people have been joining in. We have Brendan supporting Google. We have Mimbai D supporting Google. You have fans. And yeah, hi from Kumbirai. We have praise. Thank you so much for the support. You know, like it's just incredible and everything. So moving on. So you mentioned about how you mentioned the cooler side of you first, and now we're moving into a little bit of the the actual serious side a bit. So tell us about your major in avionics instruments and your line in maintenance training. Like, tell us about your major, the avionics. You know, take us through what is avionics and what is it all about.
All right. So avionics is actually aviation electronics. So they kind of like combine the two words to come up with avionics. And the reason why, I mean, there's so many trades in the aviation industry when it comes to engineering. There's avionics, there's engines, there's airframes, there's aircraft interior. But the reason why I chose avionics is because I aspired, or I still aspire to be a pilot. So I actually had to choose a trade which is quite in line with my aspiration to be a pilot. So avionics instruments, it's all about the instruments which aid the pilots when they are flying. Be it telling them about the speed, about any system update, be it the engines, be it the altitude. So that's basically what I do. I work on the aircraft in the flight deck on the aircraft instruments. So this is why I do avionics instruments. And as for line maintenance training, this is what I did at school, but I'm actually doing line maintenance now. And line maintenance, it's all that it's not so easy, but it's that type of light maintenance because we do it as we are dispatching the aircraft for flight. So it's different from the maintenance that we do at the base whereby you're doing major phase inspections. So that's basically all.
Oh, so if I got you correctly, you said it's a mixture of aviation and electronics. So
Mhm.
and you're currently doing this at you're coordinated Charles Prince Airport, right? With
Yes.
Falcon Air. So tell us a little bit about your position and about Falcon Air as well.
All right, so I work for Falcon A at Charles Prince. So maybe let me just start with Falcon A. So Falcon A is actually a strategic business unit of the District
Wait a
Development
minute.
Fund.
We forgot to mention where you're from. Yeah, I think we forgot that part. Maybe if
Oh, I'm
someone
from
is viewing,
Zimbabwe.
yeah, someone is viewing this and then they're currently asking
I'm
where is
Zimbabwean.
because people think it's at Charles
Oh,
West
yeah.
Charles Prince Airport.
No,
Nomagugu
I understand.
is from Zimbabwe, and I'm currently based in North Cyprus, but I'm from Zimbabwe as well. So I would understand where Charles Prince is. So yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
All right, so we're talking about Falcon A, my workplace. So Falcon A, as I said, it's actually a strategic business unit of what we call the District Development Fund, DDF. It's actually a governmental department. So what we basically do is we charter flights for government officials, government departments, government ministries, but we also charter for the public. So mainly for the public, we do private charter flights and also cargo flights and then air ambulance services. So that's what Falcon Air really does. But then Falcon Air is actually just an operational airline in the sense of operations only. We don't really do our base maintenance. We don't have an approved aircraft maintenance organization. So then my position at Falcon Air, I am their aircraft maintenance coordinator because our maintenance is done by another AMO, which is Executive A. So I am the coordinator between my operational airline with our maintenance organization. So that's what I do. But then on our base, at our base, I actually do the line maintenance because when we charter aircraft, sometimes you are deconfiguring the aircraft from the normal setup, maybe the passenger one, and you want to fix the air ambulance one. Maybe you want to send a certain patient to SA for some operation. So that's actually what we do. We deconfigure the seats, the normal seats for the passenger setup, and then we configure for the air ambulance, whereby we put in stretcher beds and also anything that's convenient for the air ambulance. So that's basically what I do. I am an aircraft maintenance coordinator. So now it's more of planning stuff. It's more of documentation than the technical stuff. So yeah, that's what I do.
Oh, so it's more on the documentation part rather than the technicality of it.
Yeah,
That's
the
what you.
technicalities. Yeah, yeah.
Is
It's
it for
very
now? Is it for now, or you're actually transitioning to the technical side, or like first of all you kind of have theory side, or you know both basically.
so I
Distinguish
actually
that.
know both, and I actually know both, and I'm actually balancing. What I'm actually so well versed in is actually the technical part because that's what I trained at school. So what I do is when our aircraft is scheduled for, let's say, a first inspection by our maintenance base at the AMO that we use for our maintenance, I actually go with the aircraft. I work with the guys there until our aircraft is sorted, and then come back with it to our base. So, but if Falcon Air, what I actually do is planning for those first inspections, making sure that they are carried out according to the standards, according to the procedures, and certifying that all is set so that the pilots are actually confident that this big bed is actually good to go. So, yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's interesting. And then obviously a question that probably most of the viewers will be wondering: how did you get mixed up with all of this? Like, how did this start? Like, where did the idea emanate from? Like, take us through. Did you start at 9 years old? Get us from the age timeline. Give us a timeline. How did this idea of becoming an aircraft maintenance technician, all of this, take us through that journey?
All right. So, to be honest with you, I'm actually not a technician by passion. I love the aviation field, but I actually aspire to be a pilot. That's my passion. But with flight training schools, how expensive they are. Yes. So I then decided that if I'm to do anything until I reach my goal, then I have to do something in line with where I want to be, which is why I settled for the aircraft maintenance engineering. But like growing up, I think every child from a very young age, the medical field is actually one of our aspirations. Like when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. So I'm one of those. I actually want to be, not you, but
Not
most
me. I'm
most of
like,
us,
not
I
me.
mean, yeah, most of us be like, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. Or I
Really?
think every parent would be like, yeah, every parent would be like,
Yeah,
oh, I want my
because
child to be a doctor.
because you're a smart kid, I know. Because only smart people always say that. I was actually good at sciences at some particular point in my life, but always what I always wanted to be, I always wanted to be a but then and then I got mixed up with the passion of money, and you end up going to business and all of these things. But the honest truth is, I wanted to be an author, and maybe I'm
Oh,
gonna actually
nice.
transition to that. But then yeah, but then at some point, I wanted to be like I not wanted, but I was scared because I was good at science. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I don't know. I don't know about being a doctor, but I resonate with what you're saying. It's totally correct. Like the
Mm-hmm.
medicine is like flooded. Things like
Yeah.
pilot is like something that is like it's put on the side, like they make it seem as if it's for certain people, it's destined for certain people, like I remember that, so we are forced to choose medical field. Go on.
All right, so I actually wanted to be a doctor. So I mean, like being a doctor was like my first career option when I was looking into my future when I was really, really young. And the aviation field was actually the second one. And yeah, I wanted to be a pilot. And the third one, I wanted to be a lawyer. But then what happened is when I started my Form 1 studies, I landed Nyashanu Mission in Bohera. When I started my Form 1 studies, like during my first term, I then received a call as the school that my mom is not feeling well, and it was bad. So I think with my experience with my mother's illness and everything that went on, it kind of discouraged me to venture in the medical field. at some point I actually hated doctors because my mom was given some wrong treatment for what she was suffering from, and it was just hectic. So then I then ruled out the medical field. I was like, ah no, I'm not gonna do this. I don't want to play with people's lives, you know. So I was like, I'm not gonna do this. So then the aviation was the second one, right? So after that, it then became my first option. But I wanted to be a pilot. I so wanted to be a pilot. But you know, going to the flight schools and inquiring about the quotations for the private pilot license studies, and you're hearing thousands and thousands of dollars, you'd be like, oh, maybe aviation is for the rich. So I sort of told myself to chill about this whole pilot dream, but I really didn't like let it die. So then I actually saw an advert for apprenticeship programs at Air Zimbabwe for the aircraft engineering, and that's how I found myself starting the aircraft maintenance technician journey. And here I am.
Awesome. It actually transitions to the next question as well. But then I want you to clarify that part. Like, so did you go to uni? Like, what happened? Like, did you go to uni or you just took on the apprenticeship thing?
From high school straight to the apprenticeship program.
So you didn't do your A levels or anything?
I did my A levels, like from the
Oh,
A level straight to, yeah.
oh, straight then, and then you just jumped into the apprenticeship.
I don't even know a gate to the university.
Wow. But then one like this is like a slight caveat, but then obviously I think it's actually important. I ask you this, like did you at any point think you not going to university was sort of like a mistake? Because I want you to talk about your apprenticeship as well. But then I'm like, how did you shun the idea of going to uni? You know, like how because you know how it is in an African setup, especially. You know, like yeah, like you have to really convince your household, like, okay, fine, I'm not gonna go to uni, I'm gonna do this and stuff. Like, how did you get to go about? What kind of support did you get? Like, you just going for an apprenticeship. Let's balance us real quick on that part.
So I think I actually have to say this first. I have a very supportive family, a very supportive family. So what happened is I think everyone really knew what I wanted because I made them believe in me, believe in my dream, in my goals, in everything that I wanted to achieve. So I think there's this grandma of mine, she actually mentioned, you know, you're supposed to go to university at least, and then you try and balance. You can't, yeah, you can't
I
miss
knew,
out
I knew,
on
I knew there was gonna be one person. I knew there was gonna be one person who would say something like that. Yeah, go on.
yeah, yeah, this grandma of mine actually said that you can't really miss out on it because you need a degree. What? My grandma is well learned. She actually has a PhD, but she's so old, white hair. So she's like, you can't really miss out on the university life, etc. But I'm actually happy that my mom stood by me. And the good thing is, for the apprenticeship program, you don't pay. I actually have to also thank the Zimbabwean government. They sponsored my 4-year program. I didn't pay a single cent for my learning. Yes.
Wow.
So the good thing is, yeah, the good thing is for apprenticeship programs, you really don't pay. So it wasn't really financially taxing for my family. You mean like it's all free? So who were they to say no when they are not paying a single dime for
Yeah,
my
like if you're not
education?
gonna pay any single quid, dime, nothing. Ah,
Yes.
so how tell us through about how you got there and who introduced you to it, and then how did you get in? Like, let's say for instance, so if someone is listening to this and then they're figuring out, because this is a channel, like I could see this is a very good channel that could like literally have you grow into the aviation field. Like, tell us
Mhm.
what made you take the apprenticeship and how did you come about it? Like, how was it introduced
All
to you?
right. So, all right. So actually, initially, I applied to join the Air Force of Zimbabwe. But now my mom was so against it. She was like, you're so young and you're so underweight. You can't go through the military training, you know, all sorts of discouragement and all. So, but I actually went for the recruitment process and everything. But little did I know that I couldn't join until I turned 18. So I was still 17 when I went through the
Oh,
whole recruitment process. Yes. Until the final stage, and they were like, but you're not yet 18. And even we're going to start the military training in June, and you're turning 18 in July. So you're not going to be part of us this year. So you can come next year. And I was like, I'm not going to wait a whole year. So what I actually told them was like, I'm sure you have links, I'm sure you know of other programs. So please, if you find any other opportunity for me within the aviation industry in Zimbabwe, this is my contact number. Please share it with me. So the person who actually shared the Air Zimbabwe apprenticeship program advert with me was the Director General of the Air Force of Zimbabwe then. Because I actually approached him and told him, I'm so disappointed that I didn't make it here at the Air Force of Zimbabwe, but now you owe me. If you come across any opportunity, please. And he actually left it. He was like, you're so determined, but yeah, we are going to try and see if we find something. If not, your space is reserved for next year. So then I got the advert for the Air Zimbabwe apprenticeship program and I applied. We went through a very rigorous process. I remember when we went for the aptitude test, we were something around above 500. But by the end of the day, we are around 80, somewhere there. But the screening didn't end there. We actually went for medical tests, we went for interviews and all, and the number came down to 40. So I started my apprenticeship program on the 1st of September in 2014. And to be honest, it was not easy at all. It wasn't easy at all. I'm sure, like with the normal Zimbabwe education system, a pass starts from 50%, right? But within the aviation industry, we were told from the very first day during our orientation program that a pass within this industry, it starts from 70%. So if you get a 69, that's a fail. So already I was so scared of failing. Yes, I was so scared of failing and all. And you can just imagine learning with the fear of failing. And back home, I made people believe that I got this. You
Yeah, I
can
got
trust
this.
me.
Like this is it.
So I remember my first module was mathematics, like engineering mathematics. And I don't want to lie. The day that I wrote the exam, I came out crying. I was like, I'm over. My life is done. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know how it happened. Up to now, I don't know. I mean, my confidence grew with time. But for those first modules, for that first experience, I really don't know how it happened. But I actually got 100% for that exam. So I was like, oh wow. So I got this. So then it actually helped me to be more confident, to relax, because I mean, being afraid can actually be a motivation, but it's not so
Yeah.
cool to be afraid all the time. Yes. So then I ended up actually being chilled, working hard, but all went well. I don't remember failing a subject. Actually, I never failed a module. Never, ever.
Awesome. I like just a small interjection. I think Samantha's comment is really, really good. Like she says that thank you for being honest. The world is full of people who pretend things are simple and easy. Wow.
That's
That's
so
true,
true.
That is very
Yeah, that's
true,
so true.
like it makes it seem as if like I know you're a special person. I believe you're an intellectual person, an intelligent person, but at the same time you're also human. Like it's good to actually show that part because most of the people actually shy from certain things because you're like yeah, because I don't think I am. And then you know how even in the African household as well, like people will be comparing you too much, so you'll be thinking could it be for me? But then Samantha really literally like brought out a really good comment right there that you do not pretend, like there's the part where you were actually scared, which is good because it teaches you to be more prepared, and then sometimes it's a hard work incentive. Yeah, go on.
All right. So thank you so much, Samantha, for the comment. And yeah, I mean, I feel like we inspire more and get to touch more lives when we are real. Being perfectionist, sometimes it's a bit tricky because people will feel like, Gogo is so out of reach. I mean, I'm not even close to who she is, so this is not my thing. So yeah, we have to be real. We are human beings after all. All right,
Yeah.
so then so my first year was like the certificate theory level, and we did like the theory modules, all the theory modules, and then we finished. And then for the second year, we then moved on to on-job training. So it's more like the practical or like the attachment. And for the second year, we actually did literally like everything. So I chose avionics, right? As I told you and explained why I chose avionics instruments. But I even did engines, I did airframes, I could rivet, I could drill, I can still do it. I could do like all
Wow.
sorts of manual stuff. Yeah. Because they wanted us to familiarize on everything so that you get to appreciate other trades because you're working on the
Mm.
same aircraft. So you need to appreciate the painter. You need to appreciate the cleaner. You need to appreciate those working on the engines in as
Yeah.
much as you feel like I'm smart, I'm working in the flight deck where the pilots will be, but you also need to appreciate the guys working in the cabin. So we literally did everything. So that was my second day. And then for the third year, we then measured on our special trades. Like me, I majored on avionics instruments. So we did the theory. And then on the final year, then we majored on the job training for the actual trade. So for the final year, half of it I did base maintenance, and the other half I did line maintenance at Zimbabwe. So yeah,
Oh, what's the
that's
difference
what.
between the line, the instruments part, and then the line
All right.
maintenance?
So base maintenance is when the aircraft is actually out of service and you're doing major inspections, which actually take time. And line maintenance is when the aircraft is what we call the line, whereby the aircraft is live and ready for flights, but you're just doing like pre-flight checks to make sure everything
Oh,
is set for, yeah, to make sure
oh,
everything is set for the flight.
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. Wow. Yeah, like that's a very compelling story. How like you kept on like jumping, you did the Air Force thing, and then you jumped, and at the end of the day you went to the ASM technical school as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, the experience was mixed with you being afraid in the beginning, and then all of a sudden you get used to it, and then it pushed you to work harder and harder as well. So
Mhm.
one of the things that usually most I've noticed, we have interviewed so many women on the show. I think it's, I don't know if it's by design or whatsoever for Fly Wings Aviation, but then I've spoken to so many women who are literally in this aviation field as well. Like, and then one of the challenges that I've noticed, or maybe it's different from you, is that the field is really male dominated, and sometimes maybe it's just one girl or whatsoever. Like, how is the atmosphere for you as a female? Like is were you so many females, or take us through how the environment was in terms of gender.
All right. So at school, if I remember well, I think so all in all we were 40, and I think we're like eight girls, I think. Yeah, we were eight girls, if I remember well. And like now at work, I'm the only female engineer. I'm the only female technical person at Falcon A, and I work with men. So yes, that's how it is. But I think now it's actually becoming better as compared to back then. Like we should really acknowledge that now we are trying to get there somehow. But yeah, it's a bit tricky to be the only female in an environment full of men. Sometimes I forget that I'm a woman, to be honest. Yes.
I don't want to ask you what you do. I don't want to ask you what do you actually do that makes you forget that you're a woman. No.
Actually, there's actually a day my mom had to sit me down to remind me that Gugu, you know what, you are a woman. This type of industry language, it should end at work. So
um,
yeah,
or you end up having this certain type of jargon in terms of wherever, in terms of
yes,
so you'll be like,
yeah.
that's
It's called
interesting, but
industry
that's
language.
yeah, but then that's you loving your job anyway, so it's not entirely wrong, I guess. Then why do you think the lack of women in aviation? Like especially the line of what you're doing right now, the aircraft maintenance thing. Like why do you think there's a lack? And you spoke about how you had 8 women. Like where are all of those
Mhm.
women? Like did they quit, or like what happened? Like conversations to conversations, women. Like what do you think was a barrier to them succeeding to where you are right now? Or if not, if they're successful, it's fine. But then I'm thinking, yeah, women to women, like what do you think lacks for women to be able to enter this field?
This is a very tricky question, but I'll try to answer. So I think there are a lot of factors to this gender stereotyping when it comes to any male-dominated industry. But I'd like to be very honest, based on my personal experience, like as Nomagugu, not as any other woman. I don't want to generalize that, but as a woman, I think it's actually very tricky for I know this is gonna shake a lot of tables, but I think it's actually very, very
Drum roll.
tricky to have.
I'm like drum roll. But why am I gonna say drum roll? Disclaimer. You can say disclaimer if you want. You know, you can say disclaimer. I do not literally mean this, but then I'm gonna say. But it's fine. It's fine.
I
If
mean
you,
it.
I'm like,
All
if you've
right, so
watched to this point of the show, thank you so much. I hope that you won't get offended. But go ahead. Go ahead.
I think one of the main reasons why people don't really want women in these industries that are so male dominated is because women generally we have issues. And one issue that I'm going to mention is the issue of menstruation. A lot of women suffer from period pain, and
Okay.
sometimes it's just hectic that they actually just have to rest. So if you calculate the number of days that the woman wants to be off, that the woman wants to be home resting, already that's a minus on the productivity. But you can actually check with the comments of the guys. When I missed work because of periods, you could check the comments. They'll be like, this is why we don't want women. Women are problem.
Wow.
Women are trouble. You know, that kind of thing.
Wow.
But it's actually, I mean, it's bad, but that's the reality.
Wow.
Because maybe
Whoa.
I would need like 2 3 days off work because I'm not feeling well. If I force myself to be at work, I won't be really as productive as I'll be when I'm okay. So I think there are a lot of issues. Not that it's cool, but there are a lot of facts to
Wow.
this. But also, I mean, generally, I think it's also a matter of exposure. We are also raised to be mothers. We are also raised to be wives, you know, in the African society. So you end up just aspiring to be what you've already been exposed to. So if you don't have that much of exposure, you don't dream big. You don't even dream beyond what you know. So maybe that's why we also have few women or few girls with, like in the industry. But yeah,
Wow. Yeah. This is interesting to know. I totally do not have this idea. And thank you so much for letting
and
us know
also
what
you know
happens.
what? So
Yeah.
to add on to the to this, I'm actually thinking, I might get married, I become pregnant, I need the maternity leave. You know, that's how many months. Do you guys take paternity leaves in Zimbabwe? No, you don't. Like you're always
Yeah.
at work.
That's where you
So you
even
know,
need more
sometimes
money.
people
So yeah.
and during that leave time, I actually need my full salary. You know, so sometimes like employers really weigh. Do I really need more women or do I really need to balance the number of women to the number of men? You know, that kind of thing. So I I've been asked this before and I actually answered it from a victim's point of view. But today I chose to take the side of the business people, the employers, because we can't cry all the time. Like there's reality behind their reasons and we really need to look into it. So yeah.
Oh wow. I hope this won't be like a situation that continuously perpetuates. I think maybe as we move on with I don't know. I think if we move on with time, I feel like things like this should be found a way to be fixed or like a solution. But I do get what you mean, and that's the sad business reality. Like I wasn't looking at it
Yes.
from a business reality, but you did bring that point about, so it's quite interesting. So apart from being maybe an anatomy issue or whatever it is, do you think there's certain things that you can encourage women to still pursue in the career in aviation? Like, from the point of view, like let's say you're the president of aviation, or when you become a pilot, like you're giving a speech 2 seconds or like how many seconds, 30 seconds. What can you say to empower women? Like what's your first line? I'm like, we're about to welcome Mrs. Google to give us her acceptance speech because I'll probably be receiving an award at that particular time. Like, what would you say, for 30 seconds, 30 seconds, what would you say to women? Like,
Uh okay. So I'll be like, look at me. I was once like you, and here I am. So if I did it, I'm sure you can do it too.
wow, that's
Like
like,
I'm the evidence. I'm the evidence that it's possible. What more evidence do you need? I'm here.
wow, that's like short, concise, and precise. I've done it. You can do it. So let's just do it then, right? Yeah,
Simple. Let's just do it.
that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. And I believe maybe also you do get a chance to speak to young individuals. Like maybe like both genders. Just encouraging people. I'm just figuring you're one of those people. Obviously, people do ask you like, in this line of career, what can you do? Do you often meet people who are very inquisitive about what you do, and they also want to know how they can pursue it? Do you meet people like that often?
Yes, a lot. And uh, for the very first moments with those people, I've actually shut them out. I've told them, I'm not good enough to mentor you in any way, so please don't bother me. I can actually direct you to someone whom I feel this person can do this. But
Why,
as
Google?
for me,
Why would you do that? Why would you
I
do
felt
that?
I was not. I felt I was not good enough to be to be what they wanted me to be. But I think with time, actually, what I did was I prayed to God for wisdom, and I realized that I actually made a mistake. With time, as you grow within a certain situation, you realize that so there's actually a way that I can try to assist. You don't really have to be all that. You don't really have to actually try and condemn yourself to say I'm not good enough. When someone actually comes to you, they've seen potential in you, and you actually have to honor them with what you know, with your time. So yeah, I was really bad at first, but now I think I'm getting there.
Oh, awesome. Funny enough, you said at this very particular time you used to shine it away, but you are a founder and a director of an organization that she created. It's called Leo Inspiration, right? Leo, am I mentioning it right?
Yep. Yes.
LIO
Thank you.
Inspiration. Take us through
Yes.
that. What is Leo Inspiration? What do you guys do? And you're a founder as well. Like, you can be dope, but why are you too dope? What's going on? Like, go on.
All right. So first of all, Leospiration comes from my name, Leona, and then inspiration. So, like we did with aviation electronics to come up with avionics, that's what we did with Leospiration, Leona and inspiration to come up with Leospiration. And it's all about inspiring people. As I said, that people have been coming to me for inspiration, and I've actually like shunned them away. But then I realized that I was not doing justice. So I had to do something about it. So what actually birthed Leospiration was because of my experience, either at school or where I am right now at Charles Prince Airport. I've realized that a lot of kids that come for airport tours are either from, well-up families or good schools. Then I got
Mm.
worried about the underprivileged kids. Like one really aspires to be what one is exposed to what one knows. I always say this, I'm sure I've said this before. So then I then got worried about them to say, those kids, if you ask them, even in rural areas, if you ask a kid in the rural area, what do you want to be when you grow up? They'll be like, I want to be a nurse, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor. Not that any of those professions is bad, but that's all they are limited to. That's all they know. Of which there are a lot of rich people who are trying to make aviation a common goal, even for the common man. So I then felt like I have to do something. I'm already in the industry. I already have connections. So at least let me do something. Then I decided to register an organization. But I didn't want to limit it to aviation because I knew I'm going to get volunteers and partners and workers from all walks of life. So as we registered our organization, we didn't limit it to aviation, but aviation is one of our programs. But then COVID-19 happened and we haven't really done much of outreaches. So what we've been doing online shows is we raise awareness on certain issues affecting the society, like mental health, sexual abuse, cyberbullying, etc. So that's what we've been doing.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I wouldn't have guessed it from seeing you, but from hearing you, I would think there's something more to it. You can't just be confined in aviation, obviously. You allow yourself to be open to the fast realities of life. Congratulations for that, and then I wish you well as well with
Thank
the organization and the flight wings. Basically, that's what we're doing as well, But we're specifically on aviation, and I believe we're gonna do collaborations in the future. And yeah, as Flight Wings Aviation, we aim to inspire, empower, and educate So those if you're watching it right now, that's who we are as well. We're trying to see if we can uproot talent from its grassroots and then encourage people. That's the reason why we have people like Google coming through, just sharing their experiences as well. So if anybody was wondering what Flight Wings is all about, we're all about inspiring, educating, and empowering young individuals and to create a very lustrous, bright aviation future. So as you were mentioning about your organization as well, so and then you mentioned about how the pandemic kind of affected the movement of things and everything. But then I want us to look at aviation as well, like how was it affected from like the pandemic happening, like from an aviation point of view, like from your workplace, like what happened, take us through that because people have different experiences. Did it get you questioning that, uh, like, oh my days, like, did I make a choice? Or because some occupations seem as if they're foolproof until the situation happens. Because like one of the things that why we do certain things, maybe in an African household, if you're not an African, but then I'm just giving you like a brief. What happens is sometimes we choose occupations based on it being an occupation that cannot go out of fashion in a particular time. So you would want to invest in something that you know that you were gonna be employed for a while, but then no new pandemic was gonna come in. Like especially flights are not gonna happen. That was never heard of. Like take us
Yeah.
through that. Like when you were looking at that, like the pandemic, and then what you do. Like talk about the experience, the doubts, and everything.
So COVID-19 has really affected the aviation industry. And like bringing it home to my workplace, I'm really grateful that I still have my job. I'm really grateful that I'm still going to work. Personally, I wasn't really affected, but looking around, the airlines that are at Charles Prince Airport, they've actually retrenched. Those who haven't retrenched have actually reduced their working hours because there's no much business, so there's no much profit being generated. So you can't really just pay people for sitting, because people aren't really traveling. And with Charles Prince Airport now, it's all like private charters, people going out, holidays, tourists, etc. So you don't really have those people flying in these days doing all sorts of activities because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it has really been bad. But to be honest, I'm just speaking on behalf of others. As an individual, I'm really grateful. I'm still going to work. I still have my job. No salary cut, no benefits cut. Like everything is still fine for me. But it's bad out there.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, and then in light of that as well, where do you think the future of aviation from, let's say maybe 5 years from now, what are you looking at? What are we looking at? What do you think the future of aviation would become in the next maybe 5 years? Let's just focus, like maybe. What do you think?
To be honest, for my mental health, for my peace of mind, I am not looking into that. Why? COVID-19 has taught me to live each day as it comes. Sometimes you set goals, right? You want to achieve them. You actually set them like timely goals. But then the pandemic happened, and when you think that, right, this wave has come and maybe it's now gone, you're hit by the second wave and maybe it's worse than the first one. Like we don't really know what to expect anymore. So we might
Mm.
look into the next 5 years, the next 10 years. But to be honest, I think the best way right now is to appreciate each day as it comes. Live each day to the fullest because you don't know whether you're going to wake up alive tomorrow or not. People are dying. The number of COVID cases every day, the cases are rising. So let's not really put pressure on ourselves to try and look into the next 5 years. Dude, if we wake up tomorrow alive, then thank God, that's fair enough.
Wow,
Actually, fair enough.
that's very interesting because that's the mantra I'm living by. Each year,
Oh, nice.
each year I'm no longer saying we're in 2021. I'm basically saying each year is 2000 and last. Like you never know. Maybe this is the last year that I live, and let me live it
Yeah,
this year. Of course, I can't live.
exactly.
I live day by day, but then I don't want to like confine it to day by day so that I don't get stressed. But then I put it yearly, like maybe this year could be the last year. You know how we say this year is our year, but I'm thinking maybe this could be my last year. So whatever happens, let me be cautious. Let me just try to do all the best I can. If I can't do it at that particular time, it's fine. Like whatever. Like be that way and everything. But then maybe if you a simple focus that has been made obviously is I think aviation would pick up. Maybe I do believe. I think things like online shopping would happen more,
Yeah,
or maybe things like this, like maybe just few things like hints, like things are gonna be really online. So maybe
yeah,
less movement of people, but maybe movement of goods and products. I think that could really be a thing that will happen as well, and so forth and so forth. So
yeah, everything is going digital.
yeah, everything is really going digital, and it's going to be interesting. And as sadly as we're going to the end of the show, um, so I would like advising like young people, our young viewers who are watching right now, like who might be interested in being an aircraft maintenance technician or whatever, anything to do with aviation. Like you said, if you're given that speech, you'd be like, I did it. Like, what can you say to
Yeah.
like to the younger people, like the ones who are starting off, like the youngest, like those people, like maybe let's say for instance, you maybe I don't know, maybe grade 7, like maybe that could work.
All right. So what I would say, let me think. All right. So I think that what I would actually advise any young person listening to me right now who wants to get into the aviation industry would be interest is not enough. And you might actually be interested in something, you venture into it, but at the end of the day, you then realize that, no, this is actually not my thing. Or maybe my strengths and weaknesses don't really fit in this environment. So try by all means to get the exposure that is necessary for you to be sure of something before you venture into it. I'm sure this doesn't apply to the aviation industry, basically anything. Before you venture into anything, expose yourself as much as possible so that you're sure of what you're getting yourself into. I'm sure when you started school, as I said, that we were 40, but I'm sure we actually lost some people, not because of anything other than realizing that, no, this is not my thing. Yeah,
So,
but
it
you've
sounds
already
like
started.
it does sound like Big Brother though, like people getting evicted, but you go on.
No, like sometimes you actually realize that, no, this is not my thing. You weigh yourself and say that with what I'm capable of doing, with what I'm really into, with what I'm really passionate about, this is not my thing. But you realize it after you've already started. So I think the best way is to try and find as much exposure as you can before you venture into something. And then seek mentorship. Once you're sure that you want it, seek mentorship. Try to find people who have walked the path before you so that you don't make any unguided mistakes, so that they guide you according to their experience. It's actually easier to go through something when you have a guidance, when you have a mentor. So I think that's all that I would say.
Awesome. Thank you for that. That would bring you to us, Flying Wings Aviation. We are offering all of that. We're offering mentorship. We're offering everything to get you ready into this career, so that you have the entire knowledge, understanding what you're about to venture in. We have seminars, we have short courses just to prepare you to understand what the aviation industry is all about. They're not heavy, but then they're very concise, and they would help you to make a better decision on whatever you're deciding in terms of aviation. So um, feel free to, like I said, DM us on Instagram, Facebook, follow us, check us on our website as well. Feel free to contact us, and our website is flightwingsaviationglobal.com. It's on the screen. If you want to find out everything and who we are and what we do, what we're all about, we're here for all of you. We're here for young people specifically, because young people are usually the most neglected, and then they always say young people are the leaders of the future, and but then the future arrives, and then you get what I mean, and then things go south. So as Flight Wings Aviation, that's who we are. We're here to educate, inspire, and empower. as Google said. And it's very interesting. My takeaway obviously would be my takeaway for tonight is the various routes to end up being who you are in aviation. Like I like the way you started, or maybe that was the most realistic option for you. And funny enough, everybody on this platform who comes is young. Like I don't know how you guys make decisions. I'm like, what was I doing when I was 17? I'm just like, what was I doing? But then it's funny. It's funny how like the idea comes with when you're younger. And as well, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to not wait for people to be older for them to get to that point where they can decide and so forth and so forth and so forth. But then, yeah, it's interesting. I'm gonna be an aviator. I think maybe I'm gonna be I'll be flying drones. I think that's the closest I could get to aviation. But it's
Well
interesting,
done.
and
That's good
yeah,
enough. I'm
I think that's the
ready.
closest. Yeah, I think that's the closest I'm gonna become. And stuff. And I just want to say thank you for joining us today. It's a great pleasure to have you on the show. And thank you so much for sharing your experience to the world. And do you have any last words you want to say to the people who are watching? And yeah, you have so many people like in the comment section who are basically rooting for you.
I
Thank you so
told you I have
much.
a very supportive family. I told you.
Yeah, I'm like she famous.
That's
And
why
then talking
Jesus
about that,
said.
And then talking about that as well, please do share your social media accounts where people can follow you and they can actually like see your journey basically, where they can catch up with the organization as well. Like your social media platforms. You can go ahead.
All right, so they can just search for Nomagugu L.B Lunga from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. My account will pop up because I think I'm the only Nomagugu L.B Lunga on those social
Okay,
media
that's so bold.
platforms.
That's so bold. I'm like I'm the only one who's LB, but yeah, you could be. You could be. And the next one, and then maybe the other one is fake. But then, yeah. But then she said that Nomagugu L.B Lunga. If they just type that
Yeah,
on what Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube,
Twitter
where
and
else? On
yeah,
Twitter. Oh, okay.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So you've heard it, our viewers. If you just type her name on those various platforms, you will definitely see her. And please do follow her and engage with her sometimes. Get to know more about aviation and then aviation is definitely the future. Or if it's not what we live for, or maybe some of us or some people. So thank you so much. And yeah, I wanted you to say anything that you would love to say as we part with our viewers, as we part with our viewers. Just yeah.
Uh, I have nothing new to say. I just want to make an emphasis. I mentioned this before, and you actually mentioned it when you were marketing the Flight Aviation Wings organization. I just hope that we all make informed decisions. Interest can actually be just emotions for that time and it can die. The interest can actually die. But when you're well informed, you actually make a better decision because you really know what you're putting yourself into. And whenever you decide something, you're not deciding to do that specific thing. You're actually deciding to do whatever that you're going to do, and you're also choosing the consequences. So don't just look at the decision itself, but also look at the consequences of choosing that decision so that when you say, I'm doing this, you know what you're getting yourself into, and you're also choosing the effects of the decision that you've made. So I think that's all.
Wow, you can use that in life as well. I could have quickly digressed in some feature in life because I know that this one really works in love. But then it's fine. So we're not going to talk about that. But then this is a very good statement as well. Like, please feel free to like really learn even the consequences of whatever you're choosing, in terms of aviation specifically, because it's so vast. You get to a point where it could be difficult at some point, but then it doesn't mean anything. It means that phase is difficult, and then you're gonna move on and everything. Nothing is really simple and easy unless you make it easy somehow. Some way somehow. So thank you so much for joining us today, likewise. And I just want to thank you to the viewers for watching. For those who are going to watch later, thank you so much. And for those who are watching live, we thank you so much as Flight Wings Aviation. please feel free to subscribe, share this page, and share the love of aviation. You were watching the Big Sky, where we get to explore the unlimited possibilities of air travel, aviation, all of these things. So from me, Isaac Yami, and the team, and from our guest Google, it is bye for now. Bye everyone.